Hey everybody, this is the fourth here, and in this video I wanted to introduce you to another technique regarding reverb and delay, and this technique is using sidechained reverb. This technique is helpful when you want a really huge reverb sound, but you don't want to wash out your original sound. So an example of a sidechained reverb that I have done in my production is this lead sound here. So you can hear that there's a pretty big reverb on it. But at the same time, the original sound, the nice punchy sound, comes through pretty well. And this is because the reverb is sidechained based on the original sound. And you can hear the fruity limiter is doing that sidechaining. If I turn it off, the sound starts to get a little bit washed out. It doesn't sound as good. It sounds like there's too much reverb. Yeah, it just really sounds like there's too much reverb, even though that's how much reverb I want there to be. So the compromise is to sidechain the reverb so that when the actual sound plays, the reverb isn't as apparent, but when the original sound kind of lets up, the reverb comes back in. So you can hear that sidechaining that reverb makes a pretty decent difference in the overall sound. And kind of like with the gated reverb, there will be a lot more information on sidechaining in general in the next section of the tutorial. So I'm not really going to go too deep into sidechaining in this video, but yeah, don't worry or anything because I do cover sidechaining in general in the next video. And the whole idea is just to fine-tune your sidechaining so that it allows your main original sound to come through without being washed out, and then also allow that reverb to be heard very well as well. So when you're using sidechained reverb, you just want to make sure that you're not overdoing it and that you set, the release, the attack, and the threshold and ratio all in such a way that it sounds pretty good. And I could have gotten away with having a faster release time on this sound. It all depends on the sound that you want. You want to have a pretty fast, if not immediate, attack time, just so that sound does cut through the reverb. And then the threshold and the ratio are just going to depend on the sound and how much you want to kind of sidechain that reverb out. You don't want to set it into anything that sounds bad like that. But like I said, in the next section of the tutorial, I will be covering the different parameters of compressors and taking a better look at sidechaining to help you get a better idea of how these work if you don't know how they work. So just keep sidechained reverb in mind because it is definitely a very helpful technique if you want a huge reverb, but you don't want to drown out your sound.